Hey everybody, and welcome to DC Fine Art. Today I'll be covering the Faber-Castell Pitt Graphite matte pencils, and I've never tried these out. These are brand new. I just took the plastic or whatever off of the wrapping off of it, but I'll be going over those for the first time, seeing how they look compared to actual regular graphite pencils. And I'll be kind of comparing them to the Derwent graphic that I have on these graphite pencils that are shiny compared to the new ones that are supposed to be matte. So we're going to be looking at those to see how big of a difference it is between the matte ones and the non-matte ones. And who knows, maybe it might interest you guys in having something that you can do your artwork, and supposedly it's supposed to be more of a matte so that way you can have better photographs, you can take better pictures, you can probably make better prints out of them. I always say probably. You should, hopefully. They are supposed to be matte, which anything matte usually takes better, well, we all know, it takes better photographs whenever we're making prints. So I will be testing these out for the first time, and then also toward the end of this video I'll be announcing some changes that I'll be doing. So I'll be also talking about that, where I'm headed, the changes that are coming. So wanted to go ahead and announce those towards the end. So if you want, just stick around, wait till the end, so that way I can start announcing what kind of changes will be happening. I guess, when life throws you a curveball or whatever it is, you kind of go with it. So there is some changes. So let's go ahead and jump right onto this. Here. So I got my Pitt pencils right here. And inside, if you open up the tin, which I know it's always fun to open up tins, they have like a little booklet in here. So here, if I can show you the little booklet, maybe like right in there. So they got a little booklet that comes in it. Pitt Graphite Matte. And inside the little booklet kind of shows you, says 8 degrees of hardness of the leads. So it kind of gives you a little demonstration too on what it should look like. And the pencils here, as you can see, come in HB, 2B, 4B, 6B, 8B, 10B, 12B, and a whopping 14B. So, looks pretty dark to me, but we will also compare those to some of my darker pencils, because I know I got the 9B and the Derwent graphic, and then I got a 9B here, and the Cretacolor is the, I don't know, words are hard, Monolith, I think. I don't know why, but I want to say Monolith, but I know it's probably Monolith. I don't know. But yeah, I'm going to try it out and see how dark those are. Sorry about my nails. It's wintertime and it's dry. Plus I work with charcoal and pastels, so my fingers aren't usually the greatest. But anyways, besides that. And then I'll be trying the Wolf's Carbon. And I know Wolf's Carbon, this is a 6B. Wanted to see how dark that compares. Now I know I use the carbon since it's more of a matte color. It's more of like a, it's a medium of itself, but it's, it's something to compare it to see how dark. This one's the darkest carbon that I've got pencil on Wolf's Carbon. So I want to try that out compared to this whopping 14B on the matte. Kind of do a little comparison, see how dark it is. So inside this little booklet, of course they got the different languages in here, but they got like different, see here, and they're doing comparisons too in this. But I guess it just shows you little step-by-step little things like matte graphite 8B here and Castell 9000 8B here. So it's got two little comparisons. But if I'm looking at this and I've never done anything like this before or used these things. These comparisons are kind of, I mean, it shows a big difference, but looks like ink on a paper to me. Doesn't really, it's basically what it is. It's ink on a paper. But I'd really like to see the actual graphite on paper, not something that came through a printer. But they try. They do try. So, and then they got inside here like different ways of shading, erasing, like using one of those little like little brush erasers, which I got one of those. They show the Kneaded Eraser on how to get some details in it. But all right, so that booklet, it comes inside the little metal tray, metal tin of 11. And then also it comes in here, they give you a little blending stump that comes with it from Faber-Castell, which I like those. Comes with the little sharpener, little metal one. And they give you a nice little eraser that comes with it. So that comes also with it. But let's go ahead and jump into testing these pencils out. Now, of course, I'm going to go from the lightest to the darkest in order. If I can get them out, because they're super, my fingers don't like to get them out. And I'm going to take these out of the tray. And I'm going to get these laid out so where it's easily for me to reach over and to grab a hold of these instead of trying to fight for the tray. All right, so we're starting out with an HB on the Pitt Graphite mat. So let's go ahead and see how I'm going to do this. I got the camera super close so that way you guys can see. We'll do, pretty sure, if you can see, that's right, HB. Probably need to make that a little bit, let's try and raise this just up a hair. It's always the fun part is whenever you're trying to get these cameras to where you guys can see. Okay. See, he's a little up there, isn't he? Okay, so we got HB. Now I'm going to go ahead and fill this in. And I'm just going to use like a light hand. And we're going to go over this. You can see my dry hands. Oh. Winter time is horrible on my hands. Especially if you wash them over and over and over again. Then they get drier and drier and drier. And I should use lotion, but lotion just goes right into me. And then still ends up dry. Okay, so that is the HB. And I kind of went over it a couple times, but just lightly. I don't want to push down too hard to where I'm actually, you know, ruining the tooth of the paper. But I just wanted to give an idea, kind of going over it several times to get that solid HB look. Okay. So we got that one. Now I want to compare that to the, actually probably would help. We're going to go ahead and draw a line. And right above, I'm going to put, yeah, boy, I'm great at this. Hold on. Lines are not perfect, but that's not what we're going for right now. Let's see here. We're going to put the mat on this side. Never been good at writing. My handwriting is so bad it looks like a 2-year-old. It's all right. All right, and then the other side we're gonna do. I'll just put graphic, I guess, or I guess the I'll just put regular. regular graphite. And of course I'm writing with a HB pencil, matte. I'm still using the matte one. Okay. And here is the HB on the regular graphite. And I sharpened them, and my goodness, the points on these are super sharp. So I'm trying very lightly to go over this. But I want to go over it enough times, just like I did the other one, to kind of see if one's shinier than the other or it's got that, you know, that glare. I noticed that whenever I'm actually doing the coverage on this, the other one felt a lot smoother. Like it had like almost an oily kind of feel to it, like very smooth. This one here feels more rougher textured to it, so it's like, feels like more of the graphite is laying into the paper than it would be on that one, on the matte. So yeah, it feels more like, almost like an oil-based kind of feel on the matte compared to the regular so far. All right, so we did that one. That's the HB. So now we're going to go on to the 2B. And I also didn't sharpen these or anything. You saw me take them out of the tin, so I didn't do anything to these. Okay, so let me put down 2B. Guys love my 2. This still looks like a 2, I guess. All right, here we go. And like I said, I'm not pressing down too hard on these. I'm just wanting to get a good coating of the pencil on it. But yeah, the more you lay down more of the color in there, the smoother it feels going back over it. Okay, so there's our 2B on the mat. Now let's go over to the 2B on the regular 2B. Again, I just sharpened these pencils so it has a really, really sharp point, like actually dangerously sharp point. Very dangerously sharp point. So I am not trying to push down hard at all. I am trying to lightly go over it and add enough of the pigment on the paper. Okay, so there's our 2B. Oops. Now we're going to go over here to the mat, and we are going to try out 4B. Ooh. And my board keeps moving. I see that. It's like, no. Okay. So I got the same kind of feel to them. Okay, there's our 4B. Moving on to the regular graphite 4B. I'm not pushing down real hard so that way I don't ruin the tooth of the paper, just like you would normally do it. Let's see here. Now we're moving on. And I mean, the comparison so far, they're pretty close in color. I think whenever you go into the regular graphite HB compared to the matte HB, it does seem that the HB on the regular is maybe a tad bit darker than the HB. And then the 2B, it's very similar, but I think it's just a slightly bit darker, but it's not much. I mean, it's just minute on the darkness. But, I mean, they're pretty close. I do say on the regular, the HB, though, that seems to be darker than that HB. All right, so now we're moving on to 6B on the matte. And then after we get these colors drawn in, I'd really like to see the difference too on how it would erase, if there's any difference with using erasers or kneaded erasers compared to the regular graphite, and kind of getting an idea too if there's any differences there. Okay, so there's our 6B. Moving on to our 6B regular graphite. It's like my nose is really into this, isn't it? Trying to get a really good eye on this. You can tell whenever I get in tuned or focused on little bitty details, like just on how it acts or how it lays down, my nose is like right in the paper. I look like I'm half blind here. All right. So there's the 6B. Still seems very equally compared to the matte. It seems like the matte, though, compared to the regular graphite, seems a little bit smoother, like more of a softer look. I know the camera's picking up all the nitty gritty stuff on there. I mean, it really tunes into it. But as far as looking this with your regular eye, the matte is more of a softer look than it seems like the regular graphite looks a little bit more of a texture look than more of the softer look. So, okay. I grabbed 8B and I shouldn't have done that. I needed to get 8B off of the mat. So that's where we're at. But like I said, coming up at the end, I'll be announcing some changes too. But anyways, if you could, like and subscribe, that really helps me out. Now, let's do this. Let's finish off this 8B pencil here. All right, hold on. Because we're getting into the darker colors, which is always interesting, especially that 14B. Oh my gosh. I'm actually really excited about that. I want to see how dark it is. I make sure I lay down enough of the pigment on the paper, though. I want to see if there's any shininess. If not, to give you guys ideas. If this ends up being like matte to where you don't really have too much of that shine or that noticeable stuff, you could actually probably use these, possibly. Don't know yet until we actually finish this. But you could actually use these with charcoal, like do like a mixed media charcoal graphite. Because if you were to do that before with the shiny graphite compared to a charcoal piece, I mean, it would stick out like a sore thumb when you try and take a picture of it or make a print of it or anything like that. You're having the difference between a shine and this dark and or matte look, and it's like throws off maybe a project that you're doing or something pretty, you know, you're wanting it to be all matte, but then you got these differences and it kind of, I don't know, this doesn't work out to be well. If these are actually matte, you could actually use these possibly with the charcoal and get these fine details in your charcoal pieces. So it's pretty cool. I don't know. Makes me excited. Always thinking things like that. So, all right. So we got our 8B laid down in our mat. And now we need to move on to the 8B in our regular graphite. So put down 8B. And let's go ahead and try these out. Now I do know that I do have a little bit sharper point on these, so I'm trying to be gentle to only do a light coating until kind of wear that sharper tip down. So I'm going extra light and staying that way, just kind of laying that down, filling in that tooth of the paper as much as I can without like pressing down really. I don't want to burnish it, you know. That's a good way to find out shininess is burnish both pencils, but we don't always use a lot of burnishing, only on certain areas. All right, so we got that, and so far, like I said, these matte pencils look more softer than the regular graphite. Regular graphite on the 8B and the 8B. Regular graphite looks a little bit darker than the matte graphite in the 8B. Still just, I mean, it's really minute, but it does look darker. At least to my eyes, it is. All right, now we step into the unknown. Right here, these three. There is the 10B, 12B, and 14B. Okay, my graphite pencils only go up to like 9B. So as far as I go. So just for comparison, even though it's not really the greatest, it's all I can do, I'm going to put a 10B down for the matte, but I'm going to put in comparison a 9B, so that way you know your darkest that you know can go on the graphite compared to the matte. Now there may be another graphite pencil out there that is darker than 9B, but I don't know. I mean, I've never had one, so I can't really compare something that I don't have. And, you know, if somebody's got it and have it, and then they can do a comparison. But, you know, to the people that don't, which I don't know if they even make one. I have no clue. I guess I should have looked into it a little bit more. But every single one that I've ever looked into, I'm getting the darkest of the graphites. I've only been able to get up to a 9. Unless otherwise, if so, just go ahead and list that in the comments below. Let me know. Let me know if there's another graphite pencil or graphite set that goes higher than 9B. Be interesting. I'd like to know. All right. So let's go ahead and put down the 10B. I know I keep staring at my pencils. 10B. Very lightly lay down my first layer. Let's see how this goes. I do kind of like the softness of it. That is really nice. I mean, it kind of grows on you a little bit. All right, so there's our 10B in the matte. And here goes my highest of my regular graphite. 9B. And I'm actually just going to go over it softly, kind of wearing down that tip. So that way they all have consistent same pressure. There's a light pressure and just going back and forth. And yeah, on the graphite you can actually feel the texture more than the matte. The matte feels really, really smooth when you lay it down after adding several coats to it. Truth, the 9B looks really similar to the 10B. One's a little bit softer, but other than that, compared to the darkness of both these two, the 9B and the 10B, to be honest, they look really, really similar to me. 9B and 10B look really close in darkness. So, I am all out of regular pencils, and now on to the two matte pencils. 14 and a 12B. Here we go. 12B. On matte. 12B. You know what my always thought was? Okay, so if I'm laying down these samples and doing the thing and you get to 12B and then you're thinking, oh my god, the 14B should just like blow me out of the water on dark. And my always thought is, watch it be literally no difference than 12B. Like, it won't, watch it and be so minute of a difference. Like, I'm not ready to be, I guess I want to be blown away, but I still have those little speculations thinking, watch it be not really much difference, you know? But I'm trying to keep my hopes high that it's going to blow me away, but I don't know. So far, I'm laying down this 12B, it ain't blowing me away yet. But the thing is even though they go to these darker colors, the main thing that they're talking about these is supposed to be world's first. But it's supposed to be the matte. That's what they're pushing. Like, this is going to be a matte. And which is really, really awesome because you can use those in so many different things. Like I said, charcoal. You can use it in charcoal. You know, if it was matte, you can take better pictures for prints. And then you can hang it up on a wall and you can walk side to side and not see like stand at an angle and see glare. You know, to have that eliminated, that is really awesome. So there's always pros and cons to everything. I always say this, pros and cons to everything. And I'm really thinking that really hoping that the pros are higher than the cons. That's what I'm looking for. All right. So our 12B right here, it is darker. So as you go down the line of matte pencils and their hardness and their darkness as they get darker, it does very well get darker with each one. So each one gets a little bit darker. So that is good. Compared to the graphite, that 12B is very still similar. I mean, to me, the 9B looks slightly a bit darker than the 10B. Very close though. 12B seems to be right up with the 9B on the regular graphite as far as darkness. I mean, in the camera it looks like 12B is darker. But I'm not sure. To the naked eye, it is super close. It's because one is softer than the other. That's definitely apparent. The softer look coming out of the matte definitely looks softer than the graphite. Okay, so now we got 14B. Okay, here we go. 14B. I don't know. I am hoping and hoping and hoping that it gets darker. Oh, come on. Come on, little guy. Get darker. Come on, little pencil, little guy. Come on, little guy. Or girl. Come on, little girl. Come on, little pencil. Get darker. And I'm just lightly going over it. I'm just going over it several times without burnishing. Just lightly, but adding enough pigment. All right, so I got the 14B down. Did that blow your mind? I mean, it's a little darker than 12B. Still looks better on camera, darker than it does with the naked eye. But, it doesn't blow my mind yet as far as darkness. So I'm not like, wow, in your face, that is super dark. But as you go down the lines, it does get darker. But it's very similar to 12B. So it's not much difference between the 12B and the 14B. It's not in your face. Which I don't know. Sometimes when you think of that big number, you're like, okay, it's going to be in your face. So now I'm going to compare them to my two other darker pencils. So I'm going to create the Cretacolor Monolith. I think that's how you say it. I don't know. We're going to try it. 9B Monolith Woodless pencil. So I'm going to draw a little line right here. And I'm going to put CR for Cretacolor. And I'm going to put 9B. I do have to say though, I love this pencil. This pencil it feels so good to have this pencil in your hand. Like the weight of this pencil and how smooth it is. I don't know. It just feels like quality. I love the feel of it. And I'm just lightly going over and it lays down a lot of pigment. And I put this over on this side for the regular because, yeah, this is graphite, so it's probably going to have a shine. It's not a matte. Not a matte. But look how dark that is. I mean, that is softer, darker, more textured, a little bit more textured. It still feels really soft when you put it on though. So I do like this one, but it's probably got the shine. So there's pros and cons. Now here's one right here, the Wolf's Carbon pencil. Guys can't read upside down. Wolf's Carbon pencil, 6B. Gonna go ahead and try this one. Since it's carbon, it should not have a shine to it. So let's go ahead and try it, just because. And we're gonna put on here, since it's Wolf's Carbon, we'll put W. Jeez almighty, I can't even make a W. What? WC 6B. Oh my god, that rhymes. WC 6B. Okay, I'm gonna lightly do the same thing. And this one should be matte. Of course, you're going to have more of the kind of like charcoal. There. Really dark. But you could, if this one here doesn't have as much shine, then this one here would be like using it for like some of the darkest spots. Could actually work. Now, time to see the shine. Let's see if we can get this to hold at an angle. Let's see if I can't do this differently. I'm going to try moving the camera some. There you go. So these mattes have a little bit of shine. You see how it looks kind of like a whiteout look? That is the shine. So when you look at these pencils and you see this side being the matte, now watch whenever I bring it up. even the camera's struggling. Look at the shine on the graphite. That is a lot of shine, folks, compared to the matte. I mean, it looks like they kind of look like, it almost looks like the, oh, what am I going to say? Like, you know, the ant races, how you get that really, you know, kind of look with my camera, because my camera picks up every little, I mean, everything. It picks up every little nook and cranny on everything in the lines. But look at that. This one, you can still see the matte. You can still see the colors gradiating from light to dark. But look at the regular. The regular looks almost exactly the same with this amount of shininess. You can even see that the WC, which is a Wolf's Carbon, which is not at all anything shiny. Look how dark that is. So yes, these may have a little bit of shine, just barely, maybe anything. But the other one is so badly shiny. It's a straightforward look. Gotta love this automatic thing. So we got that. Turn it. Glare. Glare galore. That is really shiny compared to the other one. You can actually see everything. The other one's not. Okay, cool. So there you guys go on that. Now, let's go ahead and get... I'm going to adjust this just a little bit so that way you can see a little bit better. We're going to do some eraser marks on it and see how this holds up compared to the regular graphite. So I'm going to take a kneaded eraser, and this one here, I'm not for sure I like this one. Yeah, I'm just a little bit picky. I like my kneaded erasers to be a little bit softer. Which I know if you knead them up, they get even softer, but I like them to start out already soft. So, and this eraser, I don't know if you guys are like me, but I do like my erasers to be kind of softer when I first start out with them. And so far, the only erasers that I found that got that really soft feel to it is the Faber-Castell Kneaded Erasers, the General Erasers, soft kneaded erasers, and the Lyra Kneadable Eraser. I am having so much trouble with words. Eraser. Those seem to be like super, super soft when you first get them, so it's really easy to kind of work them up. All right, so anyways, we are going to compare with like HB. This is a regular. So look how easy that was. It was like super easy. Okay, so let's make sure this one's, oh, yeah, that came off even easier. So cool. So that works out really, really well with that. Now let's try one of the darker ones. Let's do a 12B. And that came off really good too. All right, let's try 9B. Yep, so they erase really easily. I mean, very easily. That was actually too simple. I have no issues whatsoever with that. That is really good. Now, they did have on there like the Faber-Castell little perfection eraser with the little brush. Absolutely love these. I keep these everywhere because they are nice. Let me go ahead and do the 2B. Eraser doesn't erase very good on that one. I mean, it does decent. So let's try 2B on here. That seems to erase more, like better with this than it does on the graphite. Let me do like, yeah, let's do this corner right here on the 9B. Doesn't do that great. Now let's try the corner of, let's just do 14B. Still does good. I mean, it's decent. It seems to be erasing better on the matte than it does on the regular graphite. Seems a lot easier to me. That's my opinion. That ain't too bad. Now, here's another thing. We all like to blend. So, let me get, I don't really want to blend with my new one. I'm picky. That's so sad. I don't want to take my new blended eraser or stub thingy. I'd rather have one of my smaller ones. I got more of the smaller ones than I do the bigger ones, like those big chunky ones. I don't have a whole bunch of those. I have more of the like the smaller little ones. Here, I'll show you. This is a Cretacolor one, but I got the little blending stump. Same thing. Brand new. Both ends. Here they are. Alright, so I'm going to try doing like some blending. Let's try it with this. This is a regular graphite. So that blends really good. So let's do 8B, 8B on the matte. Well, not as good as the graphite. So let's do 9B on the Monolith. Cretacolor and Monolith. 9B. So that one does pretty decent, I would say. Let's do 14B on the matte. And see, I blend in there so that way I can kind of get my blending stuff saturated with it. And now I'm trying to pull it out. So the darker color does blend better. It's just whenever you get into those lighter colors, you kind of wipe off my blending stuff. There we go, until it's clean. Let's do 10B. So, I mean, it still blends. Clean that off. I mean, it still blends with the blending stuff. So, I mean, it is possible to get that, you know, blending. But if you're wanting to blend out like a whole bunch really quick, the regular graphite does seem to blend out a lot more than the matte. But the matte still does blend. I mean, it does blend. It's just not as much as the graphite. So, I mean, there's one more than the other. Is that a deal breaker for me? No, there's no deal breaker. It still blends. You just got to add enough of the pigment. It's not like I had to push down really, really hard with the blending stump to get it to blend. It just doesn't blend as much as the regular graphite. So, still does it. Erases very well. I'm really impressed with the erasing. I'm really impressed that they are matte, and compared to the regular graphite where it had that super shine, the matte, I was actually matte. So very happy with that. It's not as dark going up to the 4B. I thought the 4B would like, you'd be in your face dark, but it's not as dark as what I thought it would be. So, but as you're going down the lines of matte shades with those colors, like being the matte, it is like the darker one, you know, by a smidgen on 12B. So yeah, I mean, those are the comparisons. So I mean, it's totally up to you. I would see these being good to be able to add to your, like using a Wolf's Carbon, like using a 6B Wolf Carbon pencils and incorporating that into being your darkest point on the mat. It would work fine because it does not have that shininess to it. All right, so I was going to tell you guys about my little update and changes. So here we go. I'm going to be going back out on the road, so I'll be venturing around the U.S. with my job. So I'll be traveling back again. So I am actually going to try and still make my videos. I'm still going to do try and do little things like this where I'm kind of testing out a new product, or maybe I'm going to be showing you what I'm be working on, since I've got some plans on what I'm going to bring with me to kind of work while I'm out on the road. So it's going to be a little bit different. I'm not for sure if I'll have this set up like I do in my studio, to where, I've got, the OBS and stuff like that. I'm bringing my laptop, trying to see. It's an old-timey laptop. So I'm not for sure how it's actually going to work on there. So my videos, they'll still be there. Not sure on, as far as sounds, being out on the road, it's going to be really noisy, or maybe it might be a little noisy, I mean, not horrible. At least I'm hoping for the best. But here's the perks. So I said I was coming to Patreon, which I got my Patreon set up. I haven't released it yet out to the public, but I am adding reference photos to them. So that's basically the main thing what I've got on there. I was going to do full-on lessons, but with the traveling, I'm not for sure if I'm still going to do a lesson or not on there. I might just do it on YouTube. So that's why I say click like and subscribe, because you might possibly get to be able to see a lesson. So whenever I'm out on the road. Patreon, it's going to be reference photos. Here's the perks to that. At least I'm out traveling. I'm traveling all over the U.S. Possibly, I don't know if I'll be going into Canada right now with all the situations of, the zombie virus going on and all that kind of stuff. I don't know how the border is right now. It's probably a mess. But I will be in the U.S. traveling around all states, and I'll be able to take pictures. So I'll have a lot of good reference pictures that I'll be adding to my Patreon page each month. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get that over to you guys. You may be able to see, a Patreon coming up. And in that, if you guys join it, I'm going to be changing around to where you'll have reference photos and a lot of landscape photos and everything like that. So I'm really, truly excited for that. So that's my big announcement. Some changes, some more traveling. Yay. So I'm going to be on the road again. We all know how that song goes. Okay, yeah, I don't know. So anyways, if you guys enjoyed it, please help me out. Click the like and subscribe. I will list all the stuff that I used in this video in the description below. So that way, if you guys are interested in any of these things and want to check them out, just go ahead and check out below, see where they are, check them out. So until next time, y'all, you have a good day and happy drawing. Yay. Bye.